rain poured relentlessly, transforming the streets into rushing streams and making the sidewalks dangerously slick. Beneath the dim glow of a flickering street lamp, a frail boy named Ethan huddled under a rusty awning. His clothes clung to his thin frame, soaked from the storm, and his stomach ached from days of hunger. Ethan's nights always followed the same pattern: cold, lonely, and unforgiving. Yet tonight, amidst the storm, an event would unfold that would change his life forever. Ethan had grown used to the relentless indifference of the world around him. The city's bustling streets were filled with people too preoccupied with their own lives to notice the small boy who lived in the shadows. After losing Mr. Gregg, the kind old man who had cared for him, Ethan had learned to fend for himself. Mr. Gregg had often shared simple yet profound lessons over their meager meals. "Do what's right, Ethan," he'd say. "Even when no one is watching, that's when it matters most." Those words had become Ethan's moral compass, even as he faced the harsh realities of life on the streets. As Ethan pulled his tattered jacket tighter against the cold, his sharp eyes caught sight of a man crossing the street. The man, tall and elegantly dressed, clutched a leather briefcase close to his chest as the wind whipped around him. A sudden gust caused him to stumble slightly, and something slipped from his pocket unnoticed. A black leather wallet skidded across the wet pavement, stopping just a few feet from Ethan. Ethan's heart raced as he stared at the wallet. It gleamed under the dim streetlight, promising a way out of his misery. His trembling hands reached for it, and as he opened it, his breath caught. Inside was a small fortune in cash, along with shiny credit cards and identification. For a fleeting moment, his mind spun with possibilities: a warm meal, dry clothes, maybe even a safe place to sleep. Yet as his fingers traced the edge of the wallet, Mr. Gregg's voice rang louder than his hunger. "Being honest is what makes us truly strong," the old man had said. Across the street, the man glanced at his watch, unaware of his loss. Ethan's pulse quickened. This was his chance to escape the cold and hunger, but guilt gnawed at him. Summoning his courage, Ethan called out, "Sir, you dropped this." The man froze and turned, his brow furrowed in confusion. Ethan darted toward him, clutching the wallet tightly. "Here," he said, thrusting it forward. The man took the wallet, inspecting it briefly before his expression softened. "Thank you," he said, his voice filled with surprise and relief. "What's your name, son?" "Ethan," the boy replied, his gaze fixed on the ground, unsure of what would happen next. "Ethan, I'm Dr. David Moore," the man said with a warm smile. "You've done something very few people would. Let me thank you properly." Dr. Moore led Ethan to a nearby cafe, where the warmth and aroma of freshly cooked food enveloped them. Ethan hesitated at the door, feeling out of place among the well-dressed patrons. Sensing his discomfort, Dr. Moore guided him to a quiet table in the corner. He handed Ethan a menu, but the boy shook his head. "I can't read it," he admitted softly. Dr. Moore smiled gently and ordered a hearty meal for him. When the food arrived, Ethan devoured it with a ferocity that revealed his hunger. Between bites, he shared fragments of his life, the loneliness of the streets, the lessons from Mr. Gregg, and the constant struggle to survive. Dr. Moore listened intently, his heart aching for the boy. As they stepped back into the rain, Dr. Moore made a decision. "Ethan, you shouldn't be out in this weather. Come with me. I have a spare room where you can stay tonight." Though wary, Ethan followed. At Dr. Moore's apartment, he was given clean clothes, a warm shower, and a soft bed. Lying under the covers, Ethan stared at the ceiling, disbelief and gratitude swirling in his mind. For the first time in years, he felt safe. The next morning, over breakfast, Dr. Moore spoke again. "Ethan, I can't let you go back to the streets. If you're willing, I'd like you to stay with me. I can help you go to school and build a better future." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. He nodded, unable to find the words to express his gratitude. True to his word, Dr. Moore enrolled Ethan in school, providing him with the support and encouragement he needed. Though the transition was challenging, Ethan's determination carried him through. He discovered a love for learning, devouring books and excelling in his studies. Late nights in the library, endless exams, and the occasional setbacks only strengthened his resolve. As years passed, Ethan's experiences as a street boy gave him a unique perspective. He remembered the pain of being ignored, the fear of hunger, and the desperation of uncertainty. These memories fueled his empathy and resilience, shaping him into a compassionate and driven young man. Inspired by Dr. Moore, Ethan decided to pursue a career in medicine. Medical school was grueling, but Ethan's dedication never wavered. He often stayed up late studying, his mind filled with dreams of helping others. His past became his motivation. Patients weren't just cases to him, they were individuals with stories and struggles, much like his own. After years of hard work, Ethan graduated as a doctor. With Dr. Moore's guidance, he opened a free clinic to serve underserved communities. On the day of the clinic's inauguration, Dr. Moore stood proudly by Ethan's side as he addressed the crowd. "This clinic is more than just a building," Ethan said, his voice steady and filled with emotion. "It's a symbol of hope and the power of kindness. I wouldn't be here without the compassion shown to me years ago. Now, it's my turn to pay it forward." The crowd erupted in applause, and Dr. Moore embraced Ethan with tears in his eyes. The clinic became a beacon of hope, offering not just medical care but also inspiration to the community. Ethan worked tirelessly, his dedication evident in every patient he treated and every initiative he launched. One day, a woman named Clara entered the clinic. Her weathered face and weary eyes reminded Ethan of his own struggles. She shared her story, a tale of hardship and resilience, and Ethan listened with unwavering attention. He ensured she received the care she needed, offering not just treatment but encouragement. Moments like these reaffirmed Ethan's purpose and reminded him of how far he had come. Dr. Moore continued to be a guiding presence in Ethan's life. They often reminisced about their journey, marveling at how a simple act of honesty had led to such profound changes. "You've made me proud, Ethan," Dr. Moore said one evening. "And I know your story will inspire many more." Ethan often visited schools and community centers, sharing his journey with children facing challenges similar to his own. "Your circumstances don't define you," he would tell them. "Kindness and determination can change everything." As the years went by, Ethan expanded the clinic, bringing in more doctors and volunteers who shared his vision. Together, they created programs to educate the community about health and wellness. The walls of the clinic were adorned with thank you notes and drawings from children he had helped, each one a testament to the impact of his work. One evening, as Ethan sat alone in his office, he reflected on the journey that had brought him here. The memories of cold nights on the streets, the pivotal moment when he returned Dr. Moore's wallet, and the lessons from Mr. Gregg all came flooding back. He realized how far he had come and how much he owed to the kindness of others. Yet, deep down, Ethan knew that the work was never truly finished. On a particularly quiet evening at the clinic, Dr. Moore, now older but just as sharp, visited Ethan. They sat together in the waiting room, reminiscing about the past. "Ethan," Dr. Moore began, his voice steady but tinged with emotion, "you've done more than I ever imagined when I met you that rainy night." Ethan smiled. "I just followed the example you set for me, Dr. Moore. Without you, none of this would have been possible." Dr. Moore placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "The world needs more people like you. Promise me you'll never forget that even the smallest act of kindness can ripple into something extraordinary." Ethan nodded, his heart heavy with gratitude. That night, as he walked through the clinic's halls, the faces of the patients he had helped flashed through his mind. He paused at the clinic's entrance, looking up at the sign bearing its name, the Moore Ethan Community Health Center. He smiled, a tear slipping down his cheek. The journey that had begun on a stormy night so many years ago had become a legacy, a testament to the power of compassion and the unyielding spirit of hope. And with that, Ethan stepped forward into the night, ready to keep the promise he had made to himself and to the man who had once believed in him. In the end, Ethan's story was not just about survival but about transformation. It was a reminder that kindness, no matter how small, could ignite a chain reaction of positive change. As the rain began to fall once more outside the clinic, Ethan felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that his work was only just beginning.